I do not go live very often, but I had some time on my hands. It's just me and the pups hanging out tonight, so I thought, and it's beautiful outside, so I thought while I'm hanging out outside, letting my dogs run around like maniacs, they're taking a small break right now, I thought I'd come on here and do, if anybody wanted to do a little Q&A. Oh, how did I do that? Didn't mean to put a green screen on. I don't know all of these options on here, so I don't know. So I thought I would do, Q&A. I would, answer what you got, or just see what we got going on. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to do that. I don't know how. This is like right in my face. Can I? Yeah. Sorry. I don't know what I'm doing, I guess. But yeah, so if you don't know me, my name is Brittany Wolf. I have Tourette Syndrome. I was diagnosed when I was 7. I am 35 now, so... Oh, wait, I don't want to do this. If I do this Q&A, it doesn't make any sense. It goes right in the middle of the screen. I don't know. Anyway, I was diagnosed when I was 7. I'm 35 now. I've been living with it for a very long time now, over about 28 years. So, it's been quite the ride. But yeah, I had some time on my hands, so I thought I would get on here and talk about it a little bit if people wanted to. Don't mind my dogs. He always thinks he hears something, and so now they are confusing everybody. I have 3 dogs. They're all playing outside and having some fun. I was gone for a little bit, so I wanted to give them some running time out in the yard today, so I figured I'd get on here and answer some questions. So if you have anything for me, put it down below. I am also willing to answer some questions. It depends on what they are, but about my upcoming book. My second book is coming out this November. I haven't announced the release date yet. I just announced that it'll be in November. So that is exciting. I'm pretty excited about it. My brother is finishing up my book cover, and that is also really exciting because he's doing a great job on it so far, and I'm super excited to see the cover when it's done. He's been giving me some progress pictures along the way, but the main character of the second book, the main character has Tourette Syndrome. I am trying to help get a little bit more representation in books for people with Tourette Syndrome, and not necessarily that, the whole storyline is Tourette Syndrome, but it is a big part of the person's character because they have it. So, it's that journey of them living through it, that kind of thing. However, it's also Christmas related. I've been telling everybody that it is, Hallmark meets Tourette Syndrome, and I am a sucker for Christmas movies, but I'm also a sucker for Hallmark Christmas movies. I don't care that they're corny. I don't care that they're basically all the same. That doesn't bother me. I love watching them because I love having happy things to watch during that time of year. So yeah, I am very pumped about it. So I'm quite excited. I didn't think that I'd ever even get 1 book published. So to get 2 of them is pretty crazy for me personally. The first one was published through a publisher, but my publisher is no longer, they're taking like a break for publishing right now. Sorry, I just saw a sticker. We just got this furniture and we forgot a sticker. But so they're not doing it anymore. So I'm going the self-publishing route this time because I still accomplished my goal of getting a publisher the first one. So I'm going the self-publishing route. So I'm doing all of it on my own this time. So that has been a journey on its own. I'm always so afraid I'm going to mess something up. I also just want people to like it. My first book was about my life with Tourette Syndrome. So it was more of an autobiographical. It was more like an autobiography. So that was about my life, and I feel like I could take it better if people don't like that one because it's my life, and if people don't enjoy that, then I mean whatever. But this next one is my creative side coming out. I am proud of it. I think it's good. I mean, I should be more confident, and it doesn't make any sense, but my I have a real fear of sharing my writing with the world, even though I am a writer, and it was my goal my entire life to get a book published. So it's kind of hypocritical, I guess, but we are all our own worst critics. But I also, when I was in college, I had a professor that told me a million times, well, not a million times, that's such an exaggeration, but I had a professor who told me quite a bit how awful of a writer I was. She had me come to office hours like multiple times to tell me what a bad writer I was. And first of all, the class was British literature of the 1600s, so it was like so boring. It was so awful, and I hated it. But I did what I needed to do. I was respectful. Like I've never been a disrespectful student in my entire life, but I had to write this 15-page paper and this 10-page paper, and she made me rewrite both of them. She literally looked me in the eye and said, just as a what'd she say? She said, as an English major, you should be better than this. And that's how she said it to me. And I cried right there in her office, and she was, well, why are you crying? And this is after she said other stuff to me too. She told me that her freshman class had better writing style than me, all of these crazy things. And then so it's really hard for me. It's been a long time of work for me to get her voice out of my head. So when I wrote my first book, it took a couple years, but I did give her a copy. But even on my last day of class, okay, and this is not a joke, this is not an exaggeration, my last day of class, taken together, that sounds like the worst professor ever. Yeah, I told my husband at the time that if it depended on me going and graduating, like if I had to take her again to graduate college, I wouldn't graduate, because I never wanted to see this woman again. It was hard enough for me to go back into that classroom, because all I ever wanted to be was a writer in my entire life. And I get that not everybody's going to like my writing. I do deep down, even though I want to. Oh, thank you, Captain. Timothy, is that correct? Thank you for sharing my videos. Welcome. I always love when more people with Tourette Syndrome hop on my channel. But anyway, so back to that story. So it's the last day of class. I'm so thankful that it's almost over. I'm taking my final in this awful woman's class, and I fill it out. I do all of the things. And so I turn it in, and I even, like, when I walk out of the room, I literally, like, the door shuts and I just, or the door is open, I think. Yeah, because I heard her footsteps. So I walk around the corner of the door after I turn my final in, and just, sigh of relief. You never have to see her again. Just get through the class. I don't even care what grade I get, as long as I pass. And so I heard her footsteps behind me, like she was walking over to say more things to me, and I just couldn't believe it. So she stops me as I'm walking out of class. Again, this is the last day of class. Like, I just turned my final in. I'm thinking I'm done with her. I don't have to see her ever again. Well, then she comes out of the room and says, I just want to ask, it seems like you're missing. Oh, she said, I feel like you're missing something. How did you do in your first, like, basic English classes? Because it feels like something's just not there. And that's how she said it to me. That's what she said to me, pretty much verbatim, like, give or take. It's been a few years, more than a few years. And I looked at her, I was like, no, I did pretty good in those classes. I was like, especially if I could write creatively. I was like, I just don't like, all due respect, which she didn't deserve my respect, but she still had to grade my final, so I had to be nice still. But I'm like, with all due respect, I just don't enjoy British literature of the 1600s. And she's like, well, if you want to make it, you're going to have to like it. I'm like, okay, that's really not my genre that I'll be writing about, but sure. Oh, I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to yell. I wanted to give her a piece of my mind, but I couldn't. Again, she had to grade my paper, my final. And actually what I wanted to tell her was, well, I was just able to write a whole page essay on a book I didn't even read because I fell asleep every time I tried to read it. But obviously I didn't say that because I wanted her to give me at least a passing grade. But I never had to take her again, and so that's good. But it took me a really long time. I literally almost dropped out of college because I was so embarrassed, and I was like ashamed of myself. I was crying a lot. It took a lot for me to go back into her classroom. after the other times that she said things to me where she made me come to her office hours just to berate me and continuously ask me why I was crying. It was crazy. People like that who are so discouraging shouldn't be professors. I agree with you. I actually, like, I was the last one. So, you know, for those that have been there, like, you always get like the after class surveys. And, I always just would like fill out the bubbles, you know, and do whatever. I had never left any comments unless it was like a super good professor and I wanted to say good things, but I was the last one done. I just remember going off like, I have never been so disrespected by a teacher in my life. This professor needs to learn how the definition of constructive criticism and not just beating down her students, blah, 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 blah. And I mean, of course, I didn't do anything. She still works there. But 2 years, not last December, but the December or November last Christmas season, in 2023, I was going through a lot personally with other things, and I was standing my ground, and I was just, you know, feeling like, you know what, no more of this. So I finally, because it took me a long time to write in my book again, my first one, because all I heard was her voice, and to this day I feel like she's a huge reason why I'm so terrified to share my writing with people, because I'm just afraid of all of that backlash, and like any little negative comment, I feel like I'm going to hear her words, even if it's small and I don't have to worry about it that much. I feel like I'm going to hear her words in my head. But no, I decided that randomly one day, I'm like, you know what, today's the day. I put my book in a nice little cute Christmas box, and I wrapped it in tissue paper inside, and I wrote a little note for her. And it wasn't super mean or super rude, but it got my point across. And I remember saying, some of the things I remember saying were that there's a video on my page where I read the whole thing, because I felt super empowered after doing it. So you have to scroll back a little ways to find it, because like I said, it was not last November, but not last fall, winter, but the one before that in 2023, and it was November or December. Anyway, but so I put it in, and so I didn't, and I'm sorry if you hear my dogs playing in the background, but I brought it to her. I brought it to her, or to the school. I really wanted to bring it to her, but I didn't want my voice to shake in front of her again. I didn't want her to get that satisfaction. And I'm a angry crier. I'm a like no matter what feeling crier, and so I didn't want to cry in front of her again. So I went to the little front office, and I was just asking her. I was like, hi, I have a little gift here. It was in a Christmas box. I was like, I'm gonna give it to Professor, and I was like, I was just hoping that you can bring it in her office, etc. And they're like, oh my goodness, she'll love that professor. She'll be so tickled that you remember her. Professors love when you remember them. And I was just like, yeah, oh, I remember her all right. And so I gave them the box and I walked out. So that was wonderful. I remember saying some things in the letter, like, you know, people are forced to sit in a classroom and listen to you talk, but people pay to hear me speak, because I was doing a lot of public speaking at that time. I still do for my job sometimes, but and I said, like, my words matter to people and they make a difference in this world, a good difference, and those types of things. So it was a very empowering letter. And I remember I called my husband. I'm like, babe, I did it. Finally gave her my book, because I knew if I didn't, I would have been so mad if I missed my opportunity to give it to her. I thought fully, I thought that I was going to get a copy of it, because, you know, you can look up anybody really online, but I thought I was going to get a copy of it back with all of her edits sent back to me, but that hasn't happened. So, you know, good things. Professors who don't reply to emails and don't grade in a timely fashion shouldn't be one either. Yes. Oh, and you have to have them this August. Will that be the second time you're having them, or you just are aware of it? Because one of my things that I messed up on with this professor is that, so there's like the rate my professor thing. I don't know if that's for every school, but anyway, I started learning to use it after this. So, because at one point she asked in the class, she asked me something, and again, I was very respectful. I just told her, you know, like, this just isn't really my genre. It's not really my thing, that kind of stuff. And, so, and that's really how I said it. It was really nice. And, I read in the Rate My Professor after the class was over that if you disagree with her whatsoever, like, you're done. Like, you're on her crap list. You just won't do well in her class, which is crazy. And I wasn't even really disagreeing with her. I just told her honestly that, you know, this just isn't my thing. But it got to the point where as we moved on in class, like, we would talk about poetry from the same time period. So 1600s, you know, none of us were alive when they were writing it. And she would ask the class, like, what they thought it meant. And then she'd be like, well, no, that's not quite right. And it's just like, were you there? How do you even know? Hi, Chandler. Chandler's saying hi. It got to a point where after I continued to be berated by her, if she would call on me or something, I would just say, I don't really have an opinion. I just didn't want to talk to her. I just wanted to get through it and, you know, whatever. Oh, your second time having her. That sucks. I had one professor that I had twice. That was pretty rough. I could never get anything more than a C on her stuff, which, you know, at the end of the day, okay, if it's not a class that I really want, but I'm a perfectionist and I want good grades all the time. But I did have another terrible, this is turning more into my, like, sob story of college instead of a Q&A, but I had another professor, and this is why I always say that I hated college. It was it took me 6 years to get my bachelor's degree in English. I was there so long that I accidentally also got an associate's degree. They asked me, like, do you want blah, 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 you've earned this, blah, 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 and we can present it to you. And I was like, yeah, if I earned it, give it to me. But, so I had another professor. I was getting married when I was in college, and when the semester started, I emailed any professor that I had. I went on as soon as the syllabuses and stuff were ready. I got on before school even started because I was getting married like a week or 2 weeks into the semester, and I was going on my honeymoon, which was going to be out of the country and no service, and obviously nobody wants to do homework on their honeymoon. So I did that. I emailed these professors and asked them. I think I only took like 2 classes that semester just because I knew life was going to be crazy. And asked them, you know, like, hey, I'm getting married in just a few weeks. I was wondering if I would be able to turn some stuff in early. I saw this, and this on the syllabus. I just want to turn it in early so that way the week of my wedding, the week after when I'm on my honeymoon, I don't have to worry about it. So I was offering to do like 3 weeks of work within 1 week because I wanted to get ahead of it. It wasn't me coming back after my honeymoon and saying, oh, well, I got married. Sorry, can I turn it in now? No, I was being very, you know, ahead of the game, proactive. And the one professor was fantastic. She told me, she's like, don't do anything until you're done, until you get back. We'll figure it out later. Don't even worry about it, which was crazy nice of her, which I didn't not do that. The whole first week I still participated because it was very nice of her. But then I asked this other woman who was my professor at the time. She's probably related to that other one. I told her the same thing. So again, I'm offering to do literally 3 weeks of work prior to and turning it all in, doing whatever I need to do. And she comes back to me in an email and says, a wedding and a vacation is not a valid reason to miss class. No, you may not turn your work in early. You will get zeros on them and you will have to figure it out. Like the end of the thing of having to figure it out, but if that wasn't verbatim, but the first thing, the wedding and a vacation is not a reason. I was just like, the wedding can't happen without me, though. I'm the bride. So it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. So I literally got zeros on everything, and I had to do so much extra credit work. So I started that class with a D because she wouldn't let me turn it in early, even though I offered to, and I was doing the right thing. And it was so dumb. I think I ended up with a B after that, which is kind of impressive, I guess, since I got so many terrible grades. But yeah, I couldn't believe that. I just want to be like, who hurt you in your life that you're not allowing me to do this? But it is what it is. I did get through college eventually. I hated it, but I did it. Most of my professors thus far have been good. One offered to help get accommodations with a testing center for something. Same one said not to worry about suppression of tics in class or anything. That's amazing. Yeah, college for me was interesting. I think for me, as far as tics go in college, it was hard for me because when I was going to school, I was at the same school from 4th grade to graduating my senior year. And everybody knew. I was so open about it in high school. I wrote about it a lot. If I had a project that I could write about it, that's what I did. I told my teachers, I told my classmates, they all knew that I had it this whole time. And so that was easy for me, really. Not easy, but you know what I mean. Like, I didn't have to keep retelling my story about, this is why I do this sometimes, this is why I click my tongue, this is why I can't sit still. And in college, it was different. You don't see the same people in class every week because, you know, some people stop coming. Some people only come to like every third class, and so it was just a little harder for me to be as open as I like to be about it. And so that one was interesting for me. But I eventually started taking online classes like my last couple of years because it works better for me. I can work at my own pace. I can do things early. If I don't turn them in, whatever, but I was able to get done with classes early and those types of things. And because as an English major, once I started getting into my main classes, I didn't really take tests anymore for finals. It was always papers. So for me, I would write my papers early and just wait to turn them in and just be done early, and I loved it. It was the best way for me. Well, I had her for one semester last year, and let's just see. Oh, to take a text or decently comment in our class. Well, at least it was with the professor that was nice and understanding about it, and so that's really good. So her helping you after seeing all that, that makes me feel good, at least. That there's so good professors and good people out there. I have a few peers who were nice and helped me with notes those days. Great. See, that's so good. And that's one of the things that a lot of people I don't think understand is that that's one of the accommodations that are super helpful for a lot of people with Tourette syndrome is having somebody to take notes for them or getting a copy of somebody's notes. Like, it could be as simple as you just having an agreement with somebody, but having the actual accommodation of a note taker can be huge, because not only because of tick attacks possibly happening in the classroom, but like, I have writing tics, so sometimes it was really difficult for me to take notes and write things. But for me, it was hard to give up the reins of somebody taking notes for me, because once again, not only am I perfectionist, but I have a bit of a control problem, no pun intended with my tics, but I have a bit of a control problem because I take very thorough notes, probably too thorough if I'm being honest. It's probably led to a lot of my stress, but it was hard for me to think about that. But yeah, getting notes from somebody or having a note taker, super, super big and important. I didn't expect to tell all of these stories while I was on here. Normally I'm just sitting here by myself and it's super awkward because I don't understand, like, so many people will be like doing nothing in a live, like they're literally like working, and there's like thousands of people in it, where I feel awkward just being here and talking a little bit to people. Hello. College peers are 1,000% more nice and accepting than high school peers. That makes sense. College students tend to be a little, I mean, not all of them, but they tend to be a little more mature, a little more grown up and accepting. So that is also really nice. That will be one of the things. Like, I didn't have a lot of problems necessarily from people or even professors as far as my tics go, my Tourette syndrome, that I didn't have an issue with in school. I had it with jobs sometimes, but you know, that is a story for another day. And I have to be very careful when I tell that story because that was a legal situation that just was awful for me. But now I work for the Tourette Syndrome Association, and could you say what you're talking about? Oh, I was talking about some of my college stories, but I'm just doing a Tourette syndrome live. I have Tourette syndrome. I was diagnosed when I was 7, and so I'm just letting people talk about that. And I was talking a little bit about accommodations of having note takers in college, because Timothy was talking about having somebody have notes for him in class. It was great. I missed it at the beginning of the stream, but what's your new book about? Thank you for asking. I'm just really excited about it. So it is called Christmas with a Tick. So the main character has Tourette syndrome. Again, I tell everybody to, see, I feel like I'm ticking just because I'm excited about it too. I tell everybody, like, think Hallmark meets Tourette syndrome. That's actually one of my, I was going to say low-key, but like super high-key goals, is to see my book be made into a Hallmark movie. There hasn't been a Hallmark movie made about a person with Tourette syndrome since Front of the Class has come out, and that was in 2008, so it's been quite some time, about Brad Cohen's life, which is a fantastic movie. So I want to be the next one, and Hallmark has been doing a great job of bringing all of these other neurodiverse and disability representations into their movies lately, I've noticed, or they've been improving on it. And so I want to have the next Hallmark one about somebody with Tourette syndrome, and I want to be the first one with somebody with Tourette syndrome in a Christmas one, because I love them so much. So the main character has Tourette syndrome, and you know, of course, it does have that corny love story involved in it, because how can you not if it's like a Hallmark Christmas movie? But so I have a lot of the things based here about where I live. So a lot of people that live in the Northeast Ohio area around Cleveland and stuff like that, they will see some nuggets tucked in there. Some of those things, I made sure some of them were like true to the story, and or to the area. And there's like the good guy in the book and stuff, and the good guy in the book is very, very strongly inspired by my husband, because he is wonderful. And the main character with Tourette syndrome, it's not the whole plot line, but it comes up. And my hope is that people pick it up wanting to just read a Christmas romancy love story, and in turn almost accidentally learn about Tourette syndrome. And then my other goal, of course, obviously, is for people with Tourette syndrome to see a little bit of themselves represented in writing and in this story. Because my thought process was that the main character is loosely based off of me, but it's also loosely based off of kind of the Tourette syndrome community that I know, like yourself and so many other amazing people with Tourette syndrome. I feel like I try to kind of sort of bring that all together in one character almost, because some of the thoughts and feelings that she has throughout the book aren't my thoughts. The character is not as accepting of her Tourette syndrome in the book. And so I wanted people and readers to go along that journey with them, and go along that journey of hearing that thought process that people have when they have Tourette syndrome, and wanting to, you know, sometimes just hide away in a corner, and having those fears around love and relationships too, because that was a really big fear of mine. So some of those fears that you'll read about in the book were my fears. They were things that I said to myself and that I thought, until I met my wonderful husband, who just, I feel like, isn't even a real person, because he's just so good. But yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you love the thought of it, at least. So I'm very excited. I'll be announcing the release date soon. I am hoping I'll be able to announce, I don't know if I want to announce the actual release date and then the book cover, or kind of combine them. But my brother's still working on it, so I have to bug him some more so I can have it done. I'm very excited about it. So I love being able, I haven't been able to sit and write creatively in a long time, and I was able to do that with this book. So, oh, thank you. Well, if you like it when it comes out, make sure you tell everybody to buy it, and hopefully we can get that Hallmark movie made. Yes. So I'm very excited, but I think I'm going to go ahead and end this. My dogs seem very hot and in need of some water, so I'm going to bring them back inside now that they're a little tired, so we can hang out and have a calm evening together. But thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your kind words, and congratulations on the book. Maybe I'll do this a little bit more. I just always feel super awkward when I have live, so it's difficult for me to get on and do them. But I'm so glad that you caught it too. We still have to do one together. We still have to replan that. I feel like I dropped the ball there, so we have to do that. I have 2 Tourette's books on backlog. I want to, what's one more? For real. I have Evie Meg's book that is on my, what is it, TBR, to be read pile. So I got to read that one too. But yeah, so I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for joining. Hope you guys